What is good people? You are now listening to another episode of At the Plate with Danny Foxworth. I am your humble narrator, Danny Foxworth, and today we have an extremely special guest. This man is 1/3 of my all-time favorite podcast ever in the history of podcasts, the Fiyastarter Podcast. They put out new episodes every Thursday morning. Check them out. He's from the DMV. He's a graduate of Hampton University, currently residing in Nashville, Tennessee. Ladies and gentlemen, we got the good brother KBadd in the house tonight. Kenny Badd, what's good, bro?
What's good, man? Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for being here. So, Firestarter, I've been listening to y'all damn near 10 years now. Mm-hmm. How did you and Tone and Bob get together?
Well, we're all from the same area. Both of those dudes, they're from DC. I'm from PG County, Maryland. A cat that I'm not gonna say grew up together with. Like, we grew up in the same area. I say that. Then in Armour area in PG County. My man Marcus, also known as Gooch. If people ever listen to Fiyastarter Podcast, we talk about Gooch. That's what we're talking about. But we both played for the same Boys and Girls Club growing up. So he was a little bigger than me growing up. So he was always one of the corner club. I mean, we're the same age. But somebody that I always noticed, like, around, like, the rec center, and I think this was like in my first week, maybe in high school. I was coming outside, and I seen him like sitting on one of the stoops, and I like recognized him. I was like, "Dog, you from Glen Arden?" He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah, I thought I recognized you," and introduced myself, and we've been boys ever since. And he went to Howard. I went to Hampton, like you said, and that's where he met Tone and Sam. And, once we graduated, we started just, kicking it and just being in the same circles. I became friends with them, and, we've been tight ever since.
Word, man. I appreciate y'all being my Thursday morning medicine every day at work, because my work day don't go right whenever y'all don't put out an episode, man. But y'all are one of the most consistent podcasts out there, and it's always an endless source of entertainment. So thank y'all for that from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you for listening, bro. I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. So, getting into this baseball thing. So, how did your love of baseball start?
My love of baseball started, I think I was maybe like 6 or 7 years old. Growing up in the DMV around that time in the 80s, we didn't have the Washington Nationals. Growing up, like in that area, people that were a little bit older than me, they had the Senators, but then Senators moved to Montreal. So Washington, D.C. didn't have a baseball team. So for me, my quote-unquote local baseball team was the Baltimore Orioles. And they were, about 30, 35 minutes away. At that time, they were playing in Memorial Stadium. So my dad, in front of his Herman White, they used to always get tickets, and we would go to see games at Memorial Stadium. And that's how, my fandom for, Baltimore started. And then just watching them play, and just hearing my dad just talk about baseball a lot. He used to watch the games. Back then we had HTS, Home Team Sports.
Yes.
Yeah. And I know they used to broadcast this down in the Carolinas as well. But that was like the local channel. And just watching, the O's on HTS kind of, planted a seed. And I started playing baseball. That was actually my favorite sport growing up playing was baseball.
Okay.
And that's where, that's where my love for it started, and I've been a fan ever since.
Man, you brought it back with HTS, but we didn't. The thing with us down in my part of the Carolinas in the Charleston area, we didn't have HTS on the cable systems, but my parents had a satellite dish, so I was able to watch more baseball games, and I remember watching Orioles games on Home Team Sports.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, you took me back.
I took you back with that one. Yeah. For us, I mean, local, and I was with Mel Proctor and John Lowenstein. They were the guys that broadcast O's games on HTS. And I remember like it was yesterday, especially when they moved from Memorial Stadium. I mean, they opened up Oriole Park at Camden Yards. I've been rocking with them, for a minute now.
Well, have you ever been to Camden Yards?
Yeah, multiple times. Yeah. Actually, the last time I went, there was the game got postponed due to rain. But yeah, I've been multiple times, and for people who've never been, it is everything that baseball purists and people who love to go to baseball games, say they went to, games in every state, and they always rank Oriole Park and Camden Yards like really the top of the list. And I can 100%, see why. Like, it looks like it's been there for 300 years. Like, just where it is, it just fits right in with the, the urban landscape of downtown Baltimore. And it's not a bad seat in the whole place.
That's still on my bucket list. I still got to make it down there.
Oh,
I still got to make
it.
Yeah, I still got to make it to DC too and catch a Nats game
sure.
too.
Yeah.
So, what was some of your favorite and least favorite moments being a fan of the Orioles?
Oh man, well, I'm not old enough to remember the World Series winning in '83. I'm not that old, but definitely one of my least favorite moments, of course, is Jeffrey Mayer. Catching the ball, Tony Scarrazzo going back and getting ready to catch that ball. The Mayer came down and caught that. I'll never forget watching that game. I was in college and we were watching that Box and Kofi and them house. They rented this big house by the water down in Hampton. It was a full house of people. Everybody that was from back home, like I said, they were all Orioles fans because, again, we didn't have the Nationals at that time. So it was a bunch of Orioles fans in the house. And I'll never forget he caught the ball. Like, I've never seen so many mad niggas in my life, man. Like, I've seen a lot of upset people, but they kind of had like a watch party.
Yeah.
And yeah, man. Just I see that catch in my nightmares, man. So that was definitely like the, one of the worst moments. Of course, like starting off was 0-21, 89. And just seeing them, struggle over the last, I say maybe 6 or 7 years. They're starting to turn a corner now. Definitely started drafting smarter. Some of the guys they drafted at the top of the draft are starting to actually turn into, actual star players. Because I can remember just drafting, guys. Ben McDonald turned out okay, but I remember like the Jeffrey Hammonds, for example, who I just knew was going to be a star player. They never turned out that way. Just a lot of the guys we took at the top of the draft, I thought for sure Dylan Bundy was going to be a star.
Yes, me too.
It's a lot of guys like that who you just think that, okay, finally this curse of this, taking guys in the top 5 and them not turning out to be. Manny Machado turned out good, but he's no longer on the team. But just a lot of first-round draft picks that just didn't pan out. So like I said, they're starting to turn it around. But like, again, the struggles over the last 6 to 7 years and kind of feeling like there is no hope. That's definitely one of the low points. But some of the high points, definitely Cal Ripken breaking, Lou Gehrig's record. That's by far the biggest, just memory I have as far as like, the whole baseball world is actually looking at your team and kind of celebrating something that people thought would never, I don't think anybody ever really thought that record would get broken. And to kind of see not just the baseball, really thinking about like the sports world, like to zero in and focus on your team and celebrate your team. That's, that was a really good feeling. And just seeing like that brief period of contention we had, like Adam Jones was on the team, Manny Machado was on the team, and it kind of looked like, okay, we may be able to maybe make a run in the World Series. Not mean necessarily win it, but just maybe just get deep in the playoffs. Just give us something to root for, like those years. That was definitely one of the high points. But, all in all, it hasn't really been a lot of high points. People like my dad, who was an O's fan, like he got to see like the World Series championships and, got to see Jim Palmer in his prime, Brooks Robinson, Frank Robinson, like all the greats.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have memories like that, but, being able to root for like Cal, Eddie Murray, and guys like that, it's not all bad. Let's say that.
Yeah, man. And you taking it back with the prospects, especially Jeffrey Hammonds, man. I was rooting for him so bad, man. Stanford kid. I thought he was next.
Absolutely. But it's one of those things like you just never know, how these kids are going to develop. And baseball is a tough sport. It's a real tough sport. And he just never quite put it together. Like he had some solid years in Colorado, but he, never quite put it together in a Baltimore uniform. But then again, I just thought he was going to be next. But then again, you luck up and you can trade Eric Bedard for, everything that we traded him for, including, Adam Jones and, some of the draft picks that we ended up getting. So sometimes things kind of work out. So
yeah, and speaking of prospects, man, I got to shout out my man. He was actually from the Goose Creek, South Carolina, which is the next town over from me, Matt Wieters. Yeah, man.
Yeah. And, Matt was good for us. But seeing Adley Rutschman now, I think he's going to be what I think we thought Matt Wieters was going to be.
Yeah.
And Matt Wieters was, don't get me wrong, very good player, but the hype around him was,
Mhm.
I mean, it was insane. Like,
It was.
I thought this dude was going to be like the next Mike Piazza. It didn't turn out that way,
Mhm.
but I think Adley Rutschman is going to end up being like that guy. So again, sometimes it just works out.
Now, this guy that you're talking about, is he in the farm system now, or is he on the
No,
Orioles?
no, no. Adley, he finished last year on the big club, and
Okay.
he's there. Like I don't think that he's ever going back to the like if he ends up going back to the minors and something seriously wrong happened, like there was an injury or he's going into the slump of all slumps. But he is definitely like the catcher of the now and the future, and he is he's going to be on the big club for the foreseeable future, and I think he has a lot of all-star appearances in his future, and I think depending on how the team is, there might be some MVPs as well. So,
Ooh, that's some high praise right there.
yeah. He's really, 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 really good. So,
Yeah, I definitely got to pay attention to that guy.
yeah.
So, who were some of your favorite and least favorite Orioles players, past and present?
Past and present, definitely my favorite player of all time is Eddie Murray. He was,
My man.
just growing up, you look towards the black players on the team because they look like you, and I just remember him, just left-handed stance, sweet swing, and Eddie just had the mustache. Like you don't see you don't see mustaches like that anymore, man.
Yeah, you can dust furniture with that mustache.
Yeah,
that thing was serious.
Yeah, it was serious. It was serious. But like, so you just remember stuff like that. Of course, Cal Ripken. I think that kind of goes without saying. Definitely, like I mentioned, Manny Machado, just because he, even as an Oriole, like he's no longer with the team, but even as an O, like you saw the massive potential that he had.
Oh yeah.
Adam Jones, again, like as far as like the guys who been there over the last 10 years, him, Gunnar Henderson, who's one of our top prospects. I mean, Adley Rutschman, like I could talk about him all day, but Gunnar Henderson, who's depending on what scouting service you believe, is the number one prospect in all of baseball.
Okay.
I'm going to end up being in love with that kid as well. He looks like a future possible MVP as well. I mean, there's so many guys that like Mickey Tettleton, going back in the days.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember him. Catcher.
Yeah. Yeah. Randy Milligan, who played first base for us, again, another black player. Mike Devereaux, another black player. Just like pretty much anybody who was black. Alan Mills. I can go down some of the pictures like Alan Mills. Like a lot of those guys were some of like my favorite players. And again, I just kind of saw myself in them.
Word. And there was something I remember you saying on the Fiyastarter podcast that always stuck with me about your father, how you said one summer, you remember he was watching the game in the basement and you said he was belly laughing.
Man.
and
man,
how Brady Anderson looked that year compared to the previous year where he was skinny. Then he's all roided up with the sideburns and hitting 50-something home runs.
Dog, I'll never forget as long as I live. My dad was a big dude, man. And when he laughed, he had a very contagious laugh. And he would just tear up, belly just shaking, tear up, laughing at stuff that he found hilarious. And I'll never forget, man, it was summer break. We was in the basement. That's where me and him used to sit down in the basement, look at games together. And it was that year that Brady Anderson had 50 home runs. And it's like it was so obvious that something was up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we were playing the Angels. I think if I'm not mistaken, and Brady crushed one over the center field fence, and my father started like, man, he laughed like 10 minutes because he was like, this boy is on steroids, and ain't nobody gonna say nothing. Like it's so obvious, like how he was when he got to us, and how he looked that year. He was juiced the fuck up. And
indeed,
he was just crushing balls. I mean, like Brady was a slap man. He used to slap balls all over the field to try to get on base with his speed. He was a speed guy. Never in a million years did anybody ever on their scout report ever say that Brady Anderson was ever going to hit over 20 home runs in the season. This motherfucker hit 50. And it was like, yo, he's on steroids. And I never get my father just like losing it watching this game. because of how far he hit that ball. Because he had been laughing about it for weeks leading up to that. But this one, like, as soon as he hit the ball, like that shit must have went like 2 miles, and he just started cooking. And we just started laughing, like we couldn't stop laughing because like his laugh would make my father's laugh was kind of like J. Anthony Brown. J. Anthony Brown is somebody that his laugh can make me laugh. That's how he used to laugh, and I just never forget it, man. Like this dude is juiced up, and Major League Baseball don't care because people love the long ball. So
Yep.
Yeah, man.
I won't even hold you. That's steroid era is what got me back in love with baseball because I put
got a lot of people in love with it. Yeah,
because I put it on the shelf after that '94 strike, and man, when I saw Sosa and McGuire, I'm like, I'm back in.
It got the sports world talking about baseball again. It captured the attention of the sports world, and like even casual. I wouldn't even call it casual. Like my mom wasn't a casual fan, but like she know shit about baseball. She don't know shit about sports in general.
Yeah.
But like that alone even got her because she would read the paper every morning. She read the Washington Post, and if like the home run chase is like on the front page or like the inside page of the Washington Post, she's like, "What the hell's going on here?" And then she would start asking questions. Next thing you know, she started peeking in when we in the basement looking at games. Next thing you know, she started sitting down. And next thing you know, she watching the games with us just to see what all the hype is about. You know what I'm saying? So like again, not even casual fans, just people who just pay attention to what's going on in the world. All of a sudden, were interested in seeing what was going on with this home run.
That was a moment.
It was.
I mean, it was regular season games on Fox being nationally televised.
Exactly. Yep.
So who were some of your favorite non-Orioles players, past or present?
Man, favorite non-Orioles players. I would say like at the top of the list would got to be Ozzie Smith because I played shortstop on my little league team.
Okay.
And my coach used to call me like the wizard. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not trying to say I played short like Ozzie Smith, but then again, back then he was the only black dude I could think of that played short, and everybody loved like just I hate to use the word swag, but like Ozzie used to run on the field, do flips.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like he just played with just like a lot of flair, and that was one thing that I really fuck with him about. You know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't just like catch the ball or like ground the ball, throw the ball to first base, something like that. And like, Ozzie used to do all kinds. He was like a globetrotter on the baseball diamond. You know what I'm saying? And
he really was.
Yeah, and I just was gravitated towards it. So like, he was like really the first non-Orioles player I remember really, really, really liking. And then like the race between like Ricky Henderson and Tim Raines. I remember that, like them going back and like this Tim Raines just having like wild, stolen base numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that Andre Dawson,
the Hawk.
Yeah, loved him. Absolutely loved him. Fred McGriff, Manny Ramirez. I just fuck with Manny, just like his.
Me too.
Yeah, I fuck with Manny, just like his just the way he just want to just create himself. It was almost like I really don't give a fuck. Like I'm just out here, just pitch the motherfucking ball, and I'm just going hit this bitch 600 feet just because that's just what I do. Like I can't help it. I'm Manny Ramirez. You know what I mean?
The dude cut off the cutoff man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he would do stuff like that. And you'd be like, yo, Manny, what are you doing? But it was Manny being Manny. You know what I'm saying? So Alfonso Soriano, I just love like his batting stance.
Me too.
Stuff like that. It would kind of just get me interested in the dude, and I would just end up kind of rooting for him. And Lee Smith is somebody.
Oh yeah,
I love Lee Smith.
St. Louis Cardinals.
Absolutely, yeah. So I mean, King Griffey Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Love King Griffey Jr. Barry Bonds. I can go on down the line, man. The dudes that I just really, really like just growing up. But those are the guys I say just on the top, man. They just kind of stand out.
Dig it. So, and also another thing I liked about Manny, I think it was a playoff game that they lost, and they talked to him in the post game, and he just goes, "So who cares?" He's like, "It's always next year."
Yeah,
like fresh off of a loss, and I'm like,
yeah.
I respect it.
Yeah, he was being honest. Like, there's no bullshit with him. Like, is this Manny being Manny?
Yeah, it's no, things didn't go our way. It just wasn't nothing. Like he flat out said, "Who cares?" It's always next year.
Mm-hmm. I can't forget about Pedro Martinez too, and his little buddy,
little Pedro.
Yeah, little Pedro, little buddy, and also that thing with Don Zimmer, man. Like, bruh. It's talking about
Legend.
like moments.
Legend.
Like you just remember like this as a fan. Like I don't have anything to do with this Boston Yankee shit, but like him, like that whole just show old head.
He hip toss, give him the hip toss. So good.
So good, man. So and even today, like just Pedro's just overall, just like his personality, I've always just fuck with him.
And I tell you another thing I loved about Pedro was the fact that first pitch he'd have an afro.
Yes.
112 pitch would be a Jerry curl.
You in between innings, man. Like he was in that bottle. You know what I'm saying? So
like that's
incredible. Curl, do the Jerry curl.
So now we're going to get into the 5-question segment of At the Plate. So first and last question are the same questions I ask every guest I have on here, and questions 2 through 4 are 100% random. So question number 1, what were the ideal items on KBadd's school lunch tray?
Man, that's a good damn question, bro. All right. So from kindergarten to 7th grade, it was a private school, right? Real small school. Didn't even have like they had a quote unquote. See, I can't even call it a cafeteria. It was more like a multi-purpose room.
Okay.
Where everybody ate lunch, but they didn't prepare the lunch there. If you feel me, like it would be more like microwave food and all that type of stuff like that. So like they had candy and all that, but like they had these little microwave pizzas used to come in a little plastic baggie.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of like a little treat, but not really. Like I really like that lunch. And then 8th grade, I went to a public school, and they used to have like that. You ever see like these memes on Twitter? People talk about like how good like public school like pizza was. They some motherfucking lies. Nah, that shit wasn't good, bro. At least the ones they had in PG County, dog. Like that shit tastes like cardboard and ass. So it wasn't good. So I can't really talk about like that. But man, when I got to high school with the Maverick, dog. Again, I'm not trying to compare this to like a real Philly cheesesteak.
Mm-hmm.
But they used to pair food in the cafeteria.
Okay.
Man, you could size a little. They used to have like these conical steak sandwiches. You get with cheese, like little cheese whiz on them. Man, they had like a little bar. You can get your little lettuce, tomatoes. You can get little grilled onions on it, and cheese fries, bruh. Steak and cheese fries lunch at the Mather used to be hitting.
Woo! So it was like the steak of meat.
It probably was. But then again, like I said, dog, you could, you know what I'm saying? They had like a little bar where you could put your little toppings and stuff on it.
Mm-hmm. And
you can actually get like tell them like, yeah, I want grilled onions on it. And they go back there, grilled onions, put it on the sandwich. Hey, dog. I'm just saying again, I'm not comparing it to like a real good cheesesteak you can get at a restaurant today, but for some school shit, yeah, it was like that.
Wow. Man. See, now I'm high-key hating now.
Yeah, I'm just saying. It wasn't bad. It might have been like all together, the steak sandwich, the cheese fries, and maybe like a soda may have been like $4 or $5 all together.
Oh, you can't beat that.
Oh, nah, yeah. You was in there.
All right, question number 2. Who was the professor that inspired you the most?
Man, the professor. Would that be just college or just all throughout my?
It can be, yeah. You know what? It can be college or grade school.
All right, I'm gonna give you 2.
Okay.
So I would say the teacher I like the most in elementary. I'm gonna take it in sections. I'm gonna say in grade school was Miss Perico. She's my 3rd grade teacher. Just because of how nice she was and how much she encouraged everybody in her class. I remember she was just very, very, very encouraging and always, you know what I'm saying, like never had, it never yelled. Like she got her point across just by being herself. And I always remember that about her. And I would say once I got to high school, no doubt, I would say Mr. Macheski. Mr. Macheski taught history at the Mather.
Okay.
And he retired a couple years ago. But I heard about Mr. Macheski before I even got to the Mather from people that were older than me that went there, and they was like, dog, once you get there, you can take Mr. Macheski's history class. And man, that dude taught history like his life depended on it, man. Like that dude started talking about World War One. Like I heard about him getting on top of the desk and talking about they were mowing him down, man, mowing him down. And
Wow.
like, yeah, he like I was almost sitting there like sitting there watching the play because like I could feel like, oh, this when he gonna start talking about he was mowing him down. And then like, he got up on the desk and started doing it. And like just like how he taught history and how honest he was about it. And like especially with you seeing everything going on in the world right now, there was no question you couldn't ask him that he was afraid to answer, or be like, I can't answer that, or just be truthful about it. You know, with anything about slavery, it didn't matter what it was. He loved the subject so much and loved teaching it so much that you could ask that dude anything. So classes kind of became sometimes what we wanted them to be. Just because, again, he just wanted us to learn the real history of this country. You know what I'm saying? I would say that about that school in a lot of ways, man. Like I know people may have heard about DeMatha, and like I know they probably know it for athletics, but they had some teachers there, man, that really, really cared. Like, you know, Mr. Kelly, who taught religion, he was a black dude, taught freshman religion, man. Just like I learned so much from him as well, just like his honesty about just what was going on. I know people his religion class, but it was really more just about the world as a whole. Father Damien, his religion class, and just how open and honest it was, and how we were able to have actual conversations about religion and you know its role in our society and everything. Like it's just, you know, it's something that before when I could tell a lot of people my age didn't really get, and I just know I was fortunate that way. And in college, it was Dr. Kalan. Dr. Kalan taught history again, and again at Hampton, and again just one of those classes where you could tell he loved the subject so much that it made me want to do well in this class, and it made me want to learn more about it. His African American history, and yeah, man, like some of the stuff he taught in that class, like I still remember to this day. It was like the first time I remember a lot of stuff that I hear today. I'm like, I remember learning that in Dr. Kalan's class. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Dr. Bell too. She taught English at Hampton as well, like her as well. Like those are the people that kind of stand out.
Dope. Yeah. Question number 3. If you were a baseball player, what would your walk-up music be?
Man, but you got some good ass questions, man. Probably Murder by UGK.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah, just I mean, I gotta listen to that song like every 2 weeks, man. To help keep my teeth white, man. Like,
hey, come on now,
bro. Like, it just goes so hard.
If I told you cocaine numbers, you would think I
was lying.
Come on,
like niggas 22 talk about it. Like, I'm sure there's not a clean version of it, but y'all just want to hear the raw uncut version. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just is what it is. That song. So many people I know from like New York, Philly, LA, like pretty much anywhere other than the South, who swear but down like people from the South whack. They ain't got, you know what I'm saying? I can't tell how many people they either was been riding with me. Like this when I was like even working at ESPN, wherever it may have been. Like you meet a lot of people from a lot, different areas. Even back in college. I'm like, all right, y'all think so? Okay. Y'all laughing at Bun. Like, people used to laugh at Bumpy. I don't like no fucking Bumpy. UG, what the fuck is that about? All right. So I just get in my car, or they may be at the crib or whatever. I wouldn't even say shit, just put it on. Just driving, wouldn't even say shit, just put the CD in. Just put the CD in. Next thing, who the fuck is this? What the fuck? Oh, rewind that? Oh, you want me to rewind that? Oh, you was laughing the other day. But now you want me to rewind? Oh, who is this? Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Poo-pooing UGK.
It converted a whole lot of people who never would have gave him a chance. And if I told them I was putting it on, I don't put that shit on, but I just played it just so they can hear it. And yeah, they got it. They got the message after that.
Oh yeah. And boy, don't even get me started on Bun B's verse.
I mean, no.
When the bees get on their knees, feel a squeeze from the HK13s from here to overseas. Oh God. Come on.
Yeah, dog.
All right. Question number 4. What's a discontinued fast food item that you wish would make a return?
I'm going to say the old school. I'm going to give you 2 answers. The old school. I think they call Mighty Wings back in McDonald's.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Dog. They had Mighty Wings at McDonald's back in the mid to late 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna say they're the best wings I ever had. I'm not saying that. But back then, for the price for a starving college student to go to McDonald's and get wings that good for how much they was charging, perfectly seasoned, and they used to give you the hot sauce with it. Man, bro, I always open that box, take 2 of them hot sauces, pour them bitches over the. Hey, man, let me tell you something. I don't know what they did with that recipe. I don't know what they did with it. They need to bring back, because I know they came back with the wings a couple years ago, but they wasn't the same.
No, they weren't.
They weren't the same like they was back then. That recipe from back then, if they ever came back with that, they wouldn't know what to do with lines they would have, because people wouldn't have no need to go to Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
They could just go to McDonald's and get, and see, the thing is, here in Nashville, they got something called, I think called the Little Blue Kitchen. I might be tanking the shit out of it. I think that's what it's called. But it's a Chick-fil-A where you can get like burgers and actual like chicken wings and stuff like that.
Okay.
Man, them chicken wings trash. They trash. I'm like, dog. And I was sitting there because I ordered them like maybe 3 weeks ago. Because there's one like near downtown Nashville, and we got a DoorDash. And I was sitting there eating them shits. I'm like, man, it made me think of those. I'm like, bruh. And I even told my coworker, I'm like, man, you too young to remember this, man, but McDonald's used to have the chicken wing fast food game on lock with them damn Mighty Wings, dog.
Yeah, he want that old thing back.
Oh, man, if they came back with them, I'd be a McDonald's going to motherfucker.
Dog, I don't blame you. Well, you peeled that scab talking about the Mighty Wings, because I think I might have been a senior in high school, and my last class of the day was in the high school across town, like over in another town. So lunch bell rang, I'd get in my car and I'd drive to the next school, and it was probably about a 30-minute drive. And every single day I would stop by McDonald's and get the Mighty Wings and go to class.
Yeah.
Boy, you took me back with that. Good God.
I would say them and another one, but Wendy's got 2 of them: the Monterey Ranch chicken sandwich and the chicken cordon bleu sandwich. Them 2.
You know, I've never had either one of those sandwiches. I've been to Wendy's, but I just never had those sandwiches.
Yeah, that was, again, something they used to have back in the 90s. It used to be like always on the menu. Then they did like a limited time, but then all of a sudden they just took it away and like they ain't been back.
Damn,
they brought them back. Yeah, but I mean, you know how much people have been on chicken sandwiches. I'm like, bro, if y'all bring back them 2, again, I'd be a Wendy's going to motherfucker.
Man, so I got to give honorable mention to the beloved waffle tenders too from Popeyes.
The waffle tenders, dog. Popeyes had a winner.
Yeah, they did.
Again, I don't know. That's the thing, man. I'm glad I'm not a CEO or, you know what I'm saying, at these companies, because I'd be doing all kinds of crazy shit. But I don't understand why the waffle tenders are not a permanent fixture on the Popeyes menu, dog.
Agreed. So, question number 5. What was the last thing that made you laugh uncontrollably?
Last thing that made me laugh uncontrollably. All right. It was either probably this morning. My boss came in and was asking me to have I ever seen this clip of Patrice O'Neal talking about, there's a song by he was on Opie and Anthony. He's on Opie and Anthony clips. He was that's on YouTube. And he was like, you ever seen this clip of, because he knows how much I fuck with Patrice, and we both have a love for stand-up comedy and comedians, whatever. He was like, yo, you ever seen this clip of Patrice O'Neal on Opie and Anthony talking about the radio, I think it's Radiohead song Creep. I'm a creep. And like Patrice had a bit about that. I would just say go on YouTube, type in Patrice O'Neal Creep, and you'll see why. It was about a 5-minute clip, and it was Patrice's being Patrice. About he don't understand why the fuck white people love this goddamn song so much, and what it says about white people, and there's been like 7 covers of it, and the song just came out 5 years ago, and why like there's already been 7 different versions of it. So like this morning we was dying laughing at that. And I'm trying to think like what's the last thing I like died uncontrollable after that. I probably didn't think about it, but again, that just happened today. So,
Word. And speaking of things, I got to piggyback on what you said because it was something that you brought up on the Firestarter podcast. It was the video of the Christy Martin Bethany Payne fight when Bethany, I think it was Bethany Payne that got knocked out.
Yes.
And the way that she lost consciousness.
Standing up. Yeah, standing up.
I showed that to my father. I never seen him laugh so hard in my life. I mean, she looked like a robot that got the off switch. She had her guard up and then she got and then she came to and then the bell rang.
The bell rang. They tried to go back to the court.
If y'all haven't seen it, go to YouTube, type in Christy Martin, Bethany Payne knockout.
It was on the undercard of the Evander Holyfield Mike Tyson fight. Never forget it. Me and my man Ron was looking at it to this day. Man, we laugh about that like it happened yesterday, dog. We'll never get watching that live. See somebody get knocked the fuck out unconscious on their feet and try like her arms is up here. Like it was, man. Yeah.
Oh, that was some wild shit right there.
Yeah, dog. Yeah, dog.
And so now we at the portion of the program where you have anything you want to plug or promote, the floor is officially yours.
Yeah, man, I just want to thank you, you know what I'm saying, for reaching out and having me on. I really appreciate that, man. Like anytime, listeners of our podcast reach out to us and, want to have us on their platforms, I just want to say thank y'all because that means y'all been rocking with us for, 10 plus years now. Like it's hard to, think that we've been doing the podcast that long, but we have been. And, it's definitely a labor of love. It's not something that we get paid any money for. The donations that we get for the podcast help us pay like just the bills at the end of the year. But we do it because we love doing it. We love connecting with people who are like-minded. And, we always talk on the podcast about finding a tribe. And, through doing this podcast, we definitely found an extended tribe. And that's one of the things that kind of drew me to, Sam and Tone. It's just that, you don't find too many people, at least I, growing up with me that, have the taste that I have. Like I can watch Martin just as much as I can watch Seinfeld. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know too many dudes who like Seinfeld like that. Yeah. But both of those dudes did. Like it's a lot of stuff that we like. A lot of things we've had in common, and I think that has kind of helped us sustain. Over the years is that we're very like-minded, but not like-minded to the point where I think the podcast gets boring. Like we do disagree on a lot of things, but I think that that's kind of helped us keep things fresh over the years. And people say it all the time, like we really don't know what to expect. And a lot of times we don't know what to expect. Like we don't have a script. We just know we're gonna hit on sports, we're gonna hit on entertainment, we're gonna hit on stuff that we watching, and then it's kind of let the cards fall where they may. And I just think that kind of unpredictability has kind of helped us sustain and kept people coming back. So yeah. So again, thanks for having me on. Yeah, if you'd like to, listen to the podcast with me, Tony, Sam, it's the High Five Starter Podcast. It's anywhere you listen to podcasts. And again, appreciate you, bro.
Absolutely. That podcast, they drop new episodes every Thursday morning. And let me tell you something. That's my Thursday morning medicine. I think I said it earlier in the podcast, but it bears repeating. Bro, the tank segment alone.
Yes.
I was thinking that, I don't know why this popped up in my head the other day, but during the tank segment and somebody sent in the email and the dude said, I had a smile on my face like Cam Newton thinking about Cam Newton. Oh, man.
Yeah. Bro, yeah, man, dog, if you'd have asked me this question, last thing that had me crying, laughing, like, man, the tank segment last week, man. Like, but then again, like, there's certain people I know when they send emails, like Brian is one of the dudes that, he knows Mr. Martino. So when I know when I see his name pop up, I'm like, yeah, we go out here, with our bellies hurt, man, because Dan Martino, man, he's definitely the god of tanking.
It's his world and we just living in it.
Yeah, we just living in it, man. So if people don't know what it takes, when people just botch a name for something or TV show somebody's name, whatever it is. Like I think yesterday, during the NCAA selection show, I think Clark Kellogg called the TCU Muffrogs. He called them Texas Froghorns.
Oh my God.
That would be
Froghorns?
I think that's what he called them. That would be an example of a tank.
Man,
Yeah.
and another college basketball tank that I remember, it was a long time ago. It was when ESPN, the broadcast crew, the NBA and the NCAA crews, they they covered each other's games.
Yeah.
And the
like
NBA,
Jay Billis does. They do that once a year. Jay Billis does like a pro game, and then they get like the pro team to do a college game. Yeah.
And I remember Magic Johnson was on I think he was doing color commentary. They were covering an Indiana game.
Sure.
And he called Victor Oladipo Ali Dipo. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
He messed up his name so bad he just called him Victor. He ain't even try to say his name.
Yeah, because the producer guy in his ear tried to tell him how to pronounce it correctly. He's like, "Fuck it, I ain't even gonna try that shit."
I can't say that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say Victor. Yeah, so yeah, that would be an example of a tank, man.
Absolutely. So, where can people find you on social media?
They can find me on really just Twitter. Like I do have an Instagram account, but I don't really check that shit. Like I may check in case somebody DMs me or something like that, but just check me out on Twitter at KBadd. That's KBaddS. That's about it.
And again, check that podcast out every Thursday morning. Hot Fiyastarter Podcast.
Yes, sir.
And if you're still listening, thank you. I appreciate you. Make sure you like, download, and subscribe to At the Plate with Danny Foxworth. Make sure you like, subscribe, and download the Fiyastarter Podcast. And thank you for listening. And for KBadd and myself, this has been another episode of At the Plate with Danny Foxworth. And until next time, y'all be good. 3 strikes.